It's the Steps of Service with Michele DiMeo and me, Stephanie O, Stephanie Ovadia. Whatever you'd like to call me for today is fine with me. As long as you know who I am, it's all good. So Michele has been having a very difficult time, and she'll probably tell you all about what's going on. So I don't know if she's going to be with us at the beginning of the show or in the middle of the show, but she will be here with us. But due to certain circumstances, which I'm sure she'll explain. Michele, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I don't know if are you gonna be able to talk with us now? Or
yes, I just disconnected the airlines and I hung up and I figured I'll deal with them later. I'm sure everybody's dealing with the same thing right now.
Well, let's give a little background before we bring in our amazing guests for today. But we have to at least say something about what's going on in this world. The world is going in a direction that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. Israel being attacked by Hamas has just overtaken my mind, my soul, and my body. I almost feel like I'm like a zombie walking around. Everywhere you look, everywhere I see, you're hearing about it. Constant, and there's no reason not to. It is the most horrible, reprehensible thing I've ever seen since 9/11. Very hard to deal with, very hard to imagine. And Michele's going to tell you her story because it's hitting home for her, really hitting home. And then we'll introduce our guest.
Horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I've been on the phone all morning. I was supposed to be in Israel in less than 30 days. As everybody probably knows, I've been planning a wedding for my daughter who is getting married in Israel or was getting married in Israel. The wedding was scheduled for March and we were supposed to be there in less than 30 days to finish all the details for the wedding. And it's such a horrible, surreal, I can't even believe it's happening. I mean, she's distraught. We had 150 guests coming and I've been dealing with canceling flights and hotels. And it's just, Stephanie, as you just said, I feel like it's 9/11 all over again. You know, I have a 4-year-old that attends a Jewish day school, and this morning dropping her off, there was police everywhere and squad cars and you know, and it's once again explaining to a 4-year-old, because Alana was 4 when 9/11 happened, and now once again explaining to a 4-year-old why is she being walked in to school with police officers. So I agree with you. It is, I can't even believe we're going through this again. I mean, as close as 9/11 was to us and you being from New York, we're now dealing with the same thing with Israel. Even though it's so far away, it's so close to home.
Right. Just terrible. And I feel bad for Anthony because nothing, the whole situation is terrible. But I know she has her husband-to-be, has family there, and this just must be beyond all.
Yeah, so it's horrible. I mean, all his family had to head north. We have a very close friend of the family who lives in Tel Aviv, who spent 2 days trying to get out on Sunday. And finally got a flight out to fly to Naples. Janar's family had to, get involved. And then she flew to London. And it's just been such a crazy 3 days. And what the world's going through or what the world will go through in the next upcoming days is just mind-blowing. It's just horrible. I mean, and it's heartbreaking to the families.
Well, our prayers from this show go out to everyone who's affected, everyone even who's not affected. But, I guess this is one of those things that we're going to just have to see how it turns out. And hopefully all our hostages will come back, and they'll come back well and healthy and safe and rejoin their families. Anyways, what I wanted to say is we usually start with bathrooms. But I think today, if that's okay with Michele, we're going to end with our bathrooms. Because I would love to bring in our guests. And how lucky we are today to have Barbara and Wesley Walker. Not only are they amazing guests, but they're also very good friends of mine. And if you don't know who they are, I'll give you a little background. Wesley Walker played for the New York Jets. He was a wide receiver. And as much as I don't know about football, and he'll tell you, my husband Mark always tells me, he was the best wide receiver ever, 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 ever. I don't know that much about football. And I want to bring this story in because I had a show, as everybody knows, on a different station that I work for. And I was told to interview Wesley. When I went to go interview him, they didn't tell me who I was interviewing. They told me, I don't know, it's some football player. What did I know of football? I don't know football player. They told me, some football player. So when I went over there, I said, oh, I'm here to interview the football player. And they said, oh, Mark Sanchez. And I said, okay, if that's who I'm interviewing, okay. And I started interviewing Mark Sanchez, except this wasn't Mark Sanchez. And it's just a very funny story how we all met. But that's how we all met. We all met because I thought I was interviewing Mark Sanchez and I was interviewing Wesley Walker. And that was the most amazing thing because we met some very good friends who we've stayed friends already for many years since my Mark Sanchez interview. Anyways, good morning, guys. Are you there?
Good morning. We're here. My wife and I, Barbara, and I certainly remember that interview. But before I even start, I am so sorry what's happening in Israel. And I'm a man of faith, and I've never understood how any person could harm another human being. And in this world, I do not know why you cannot love one another. And I've dealt with racism, political climate. I look what's happening all over the world, and it's never changed and it's never stopped. But I can only, express my deep appreciation for life and the people, and my prayers just go out to all the families that are affected by this. And it's just a tragedy, and I'm just so sorry that the world has to deal with things like this in this world.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
But for better things, we'll get back to what we need to talk about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, listen, I totally understand, this is where you're coming from. It's a difficult world. I don't remember anything like this in our time, but for 9/11, and 9/11 was different. I don't know, it was a different situation than this. It felt different. Maybe.
Yeah.
The violent nature, it's just people. I don't know what everybody's beliefs are, but I know me as a Christian, and you read the Bible, and I don't think any religion, whether you're talking about the Quran, Muslims, or Buddhism, or whatever, I don't think it advocates any kind of terrorist acts or any kind of killing. And that's what any human being, any decent human being, wouldn't be a part of that. It's just a different faction of people. Whatever their reasons are, I have no idea, but I just can't advocate for any type of hurt or harm or violence. And that's what I've just never understood it. And you go through the history of our country and the world itself. This has happened all over the world, and it continues to happen. And it's just a tragedy, and it's a shameful act. And I just don't know what to say. And all I could do is just try to pray and be a good person and try to be a positive influence on others.
Right.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, we're such a blended family. I mean, my husband is Roman Catholic from Italy, and, with my Jewish faith and all my family in Israel, and having a lot of impact in the whole situation. Personally, I agree with you 100%. I mean, what faith tells you to do what they're doing to children and family? And I mean, there was friends that went out for a music festival, and people that we know are out there for a musical festival. My niece is distraught in New York because she has friends of friends family members that were kidnapped. I mean, it's such a horrible situation. And I agree with you. It doesn't say anywhere in any Bible or Quran or any faith or religion to treat human beings the way that they're being treated. So it doesn't matter what faith or, this is a power struggle. It's not even about people and faith. It's about land and who has more power. And it's such a horrible thing. And like you said, I mean, it's just horrible. It hits home, and it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, it's kept me. I've always wanted to go to Jerusalem, Israel, and to visit and go back to the roots of how life has started from a religious standpoint. And I actually text a good dear friend of mine, Nathan Cohen, who he had just gotten back from a trip. And when he was planning the trip with him and his wife, I asked him, are you sure you want to go to take that chance? And he was all for it. They had made the reservations, and the trip went very well. And then this happens, and that's what I think about. And anywhere in the world, I have to think about that. Do I really want to go to a place where something like that could take place? And you can go anywhere in the world, and that could take place. But it's from my travels where I would want to go, and I think about that. And that's a shame that you have to think about things like that. And I hate to be negative, but I wouldn't want to put myself in harm's way. And I just feel for the people who've gone over there, like you're planning a wedding, and I mean, what they've done to babies and the elderly. And we have a special place, my wife and I, what we do for others. And I just, for the life of me, never understood violence of any kind.
You know what,
Stephanie? When we were booking this, Stephanie, I mean, you said the same thing that even Alana's bridesmaid said. You know, my daughter's planning this wedding, and you know, we all said when we were planning it, we said, you know, the risk and we have to outweigh. I mean, she met her fiance at birthright, and they wanted to go back and get married where they met. And the first thing everybody said is, well, you know, it's Israel. You know, that stigmatism and that stereotype is, you know, the first thing everybody said was, is it safe to go there? And I mean, here's a holy country that everybody wants to go back to because they say it's life-changing to visit, whether it's, you know, no matter what faith you are, it's such a amazing experience, whether it's in Bethlehem or Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. And the first thing her bridesmaids asked was, is it even safe to go? Do we want to fly for a wedding? And then we thought, okay, we have 300 people invited. Of 300, 150 will maybe attend. Now, who knows? I mean, even if we planned it a year from now, I don't even think we'd get 10% traveling over there because they fear.
I want to add one thing to this conversation, which I found most interesting as I listened to all the stories from various people. I never knew that people had safe rooms in their homes. These people had a place to go to hide. They were so well versed in the fact that this could happen. I don't think they believed it would happen, but they were used to sirens, air raids. They were ready for this, but they were nowhere near ready for this. And I mean, when I say this, I'm talking about these militants. These weren't religious people. These are terrorists. These aren't humans. They aren't even animals. They're monsters. They were terrorists. They came in and they were there for one reason, to destroy. They had no religious background. They had no political background. They had one background, and that background was to destroy all human life. Anything that was human and was alive, that was in front of them, behind them, next to them, was to be destroyed. This was something that I hope the world never, ever sees again. But I just want to circle back to the fact that these people had safe rooms. I had no idea that this existed. They had these shelters. I watched these people running into these concrete shelters that were placed like bus stops in Israel. Who knew? Who knew? Did you know this? Did either of you know this?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did. Because like I said, having family and friends there, I mean, it's their way of life. And, you know, anybody you talk to, and Stephanie, you know this, your family's half Israeli. I mean, anybody you talk to, they're so connected to the country. I mean, they love their country. I mean, I have friends that are evacuating to other countries and they don't even want to come to the United States. They want to stay close because the second they open up the country, they want to go back. And to Americans and living here, I mean, I'm supposed to go in 30 days and I'm already canceling my flights because even if they open up the country, I'm not going to bring a 4-year-old there. I mean, it just, the fear is instilled, just like when 9/11 happens. It's almost the terrorists want to instill fear, and that's the fear that they're instilling in everybody.
That is very, very true. Anyways, I want to try and segue in to talking about other things. It's very hard, though. You know, it's very hard coming from this topic being so deep.
No, I totally understand. And you just brought up something about the shelters. It reminded me when I lived in Germany, my father was in the service, so I was an Army brat, and we had bomb shelters that we had to go. We used to play in the tunnels and everything else, just to, you know, for raids and whatnot. You know, we used to have fun just playing cowboys and Indians down the tunnels, but you just brought something to mind. But I don't want to get in trouble with my girl Barbara. She's sitting right here. I should have said good morning to get her in here. She doesn't like to talk.
Good morning, ladies. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Barbara.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good.
How are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going good over here.
I know you have made a whole change. Barbara and Wesley actually lived right near us in New York, and they were our Sunday football partners. And they left us here, but they sort of formed a new life in Arizona. And they actually started an amazing little business that seems to be prospering. So I want to hear all about that. But I also have a couple of questions that I would like to pose to Wesley in regard to the whole sports industry, basically. Not only football, but the industry as a whole. Because from the time you played, which was what, 30, 40 years ago when you played?
1977 as a rookie. I retired in 89, 90.
That's a long football career. That is a very
30 years, but it's also long that I've been out. I can't believe, when we're going on almost 40 years of being out, and the time just goes by. It just flew by, but the consequences of it are things that you never think about, and I know the Jets have gone through some trying times and with injuries, and I've had that, and most of my major injuries have come, after my career that has affected me, and it's all from playing football. But some of the things that I think about, would I do it over again, the things that I've gone through, and it's not getting any easier, but I'd have to rethink the way I approach, the way I did things and the things I'm doing, and it's a rough sport, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that leads me to my question, which is, today it is a rough sport. And later on, it gets even rougher when you get older and your body is feeling the roughness of 40 years before. But you know what? Today, guys are getting paid millions and millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Not only for playing the game, but I was watching the game, 2 weeks ago, and every commercial was one of the players. Every single commercial, from renting a car to breakfast to cereals to drinks to drugs, prescription medications. So not only are players today making millions and millions and millions of dollars playing the game, but they're also branding themselves with zillions of commercials. So
where it come from, and there's only really, if you look at it as a whole, there's I think just a few names out there who are getting the commercials and branding. But what has happened though, with the money and just the change with the social media, players are branding themselves. And I actually went to it was a couple of years ago. We had a uniform. The Jets were changing their uniforms, and they had this thing in the city, the launch, the new unveiling of the uniforms. And one of the players going down the red carpet, we all had to walk down the red carpet, but he was more into his Instagram, what he was going to do on his social media. And I'm telling a teammate of mine, Freeman Mayer, can you believe this? They're more into this branding than they are just the game itself. And that's where it's really changed. But I used to rib my mom before she passed away that I came along too soon, because they're making a lot of money, and we just didn't get those opportunities. And they thought we were overpaid at the time, but I could honestly say my rookie year, I made $30,000, and that was a lot to me, as a kid. And I remember signing a contract where I was supposed to be a number one draft choice, and you think of number one draft choices, they're making, 30 to 50 million a year. When I got drafted, I had a $50,000 signing bonus. And I remember after taxes and paying my agent, I had $18,000 in the check. And I'm like, this is football? And I'm making $30,000. And then I renegotiated after my second year, because I've been to the Pro Bowl, MVP, and I ended up being the highest paid at $200,000. And then my last 5 years probably averaged around $800,000. But if I'd have came along during this time, you know, you're talking about the 30, 50, 100 million, depending on your stature and your situation. But you also have to pay the price. And I'm all for guys to get as much as they can while they can, because it's very short lived. And in one instant, it can change your life and your career is ended. I'm lucky I played 13 years, but I'm actually suffering from all the cumulative effect of injuries that I do have. And I'd have to think about how I would do it again if I had a chance. But the way I feel certain days, I wish I would have never played, but that's another story in itself. But certainly this time and the way things are in the stage, it's big business. You just mentioned, Steph, about the commercials and the athletes. I mean, you watch the Jet game, it was all Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift is
Right.
her brand and her concerts. And the NFL is big business, and that's what they do. Whether it's a Super Bowl or just commercials, they get, different advertising, the TV packages they put together, and they're streaming. They're going over to London and Mexico, and they're testing that market out there. So it's going to expand, but it's business. But I just hope the NFL and the NFL Players Association will develop a program where guys can actually take care of themselves. And just because you're making this tremendous amount of money doesn't mean that you know what to do with it, and guys go broke. But I hope that they can figure out a way where guys can pay into a healthcare program. And because you're going to have these effect of different injuries and long-term care programs, so even if you have to buy into it. So I hope that the NFL starts to do that, because a lot of the players, even before my time, are getting the short end of the stick, and the guys who paid the way for these guys now. And I think they forget about the players that came before them that developed this game and to put it to where it is now. And I just hope they're not forgotten about. And I know that this day and age, the current situation, it's only about the current players, but hopefully they'll adjust that situation. But it is business, like you say. It's big business.
So, Wesley, I have to mention something. You brought up a very big point that also hits home. So, before my restaurant days and restaurant world, I was married before, and he worked with the NFL. He's actually a chiropractor for one of the NFL teams, and that was one of the biggest problems that he advocated for a long time. It's not what they're doing on the field, it's what happens after, and with concussions and they don't take care of the players. I mean, you play, and yes, you put on the show and you make money while you're playing, and you make a lot of money for the league, but what happens to the players after with concussions and knees and backs, and there's nothing. I mean, obviously insurance doesn't cover it. They don't want to take care of the fact afterwards when you're beat up on the field. But it's crazy. And I agree with you 100%. It's what's being done now to take care of the players after the game.
Yeah.
And after, because whether your career is 2 years or 30 years, or like you said, you were blessed to be able to play as long as you did, what happens after, for these players and for long-term stability and health?
Well, that's the thing that, guys have to be concerned with. As a youngster, I was always preparing for that moment. And like my wife said, they kind of kick you to the curb. There is no insurance programs. When I retired, I'm lucky enough that I finished my degree, and the year I retired, I received my master's degree in education. I went right into teaching. And the insurance that I do have now is through my school. And since I've retired, I have lifetime insurance. But as a player, you get a 2-year COPA program, and then you're out the door. Most guys, my wife has been going through a program with the NFL, and she's explaining, the lady from Sydney, that some guys have this program where, they get stuff taken out of this insurance program. And I think it was for chemo, and it was $27,000, and he couldn't get it back. But the lady was saying, most of the insurance or NFL players, they don't even have insurance. And I'm just thankful that, and education was first and foremost with me. I mean, that's the reason I became a pro football player. I try to tell kids that I was a very good athlete, but I was a really good student in school, and I could have chosen any university to go to in the country, and I went to the University of California, Berkeley, because of the education process. And I'm just so happy that I had good parents who taught me the value of education, and I was able to receive my degree in preparing yourself after football. And naturally now, the guys who make a tremendous amount of money, they could probably be set, but there's a lot of guys that make a tremendous amount of money that are not set. So you have to kind of prepare yourself to do something else. And I've been able to do that. But I thank God I've been able to have insurance through my school and my pension that I would have never got through the NFL. And that's why I hope the NFL really does something, because there's a lot of guys going through a lot of situations. I've had guys I played with, that I played against, are dealing with ALS, Parkinson, dementia, and the CTE is a really big thing. And I know my wife, be first one to tell you, she's always worried about my memory and forgetting stuff. She just doesn't realize I'm probably not listening to her. But here's some consider.
I heard Wesley, you know what? What? Wait, Wesley, we know all men have selective hearing. I hate to hear what they want to hear, because I have one of those husbands too. And then I'll say, "Did you hear me?" And he's looking right at me. And I said, "Did you hear me or did you ignore it?"
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to tell for me if it's the start of something or if he's just being a man, you know?
No, I want to.
I didn't worry. You know, I didn't worry because I have one of my teammates is dealing with depression, and I called him on. He actually called Barbara Mother's Day, and I called on Father's Day just to check on. And I said, "What are you doing?" "I'm just isolating, and I'm just waiting to die," you know. And just to go through a little bit with my injuries, I mean, I've had 4-level fusion in my neck. I have 14 screws, plate in a cage in there. I've had a 6-level fusion in my back. I got 2 big rods, 10 screws there, and I'm having issues. And I just recently had a laminectomy done, and I'm feeling worse than I've ever felt. And I'm waiting for my workman's staff to approve me for an injection because something's going on. And but I had my right knee replaced also in February. And between my back in December and February, I was getting this thing in my groin, and it's really severe right now. And I actually called Stephanie's husband because he went through the same thing. And one of the symptoms is with your groin. And I was talking to my old track coach, and he said, "Do you ever check this out?" Because that's one of the problems he had. He just had his hips done. So I got to look into that right now. But I've had both my shoulders done, my Achilles. It's just been a mess. But most of my major surgery are curative, and it's from the NFL. But they came after my career was over, when I finally had to get the surgeries that I put off. You know, but my wife would be the first one to tell you. She sees it with a lot of the people that were helping and players that she's had to deal with, and just how difficult it is for some people, and especially ones that don't have insurance. And I know guys firsthand. And one of my good friends, he doesn't want to talk to anybody, but he's still with Parkinson. Ever since he got diagnosed, he's just gone downhill, and he's in his 70s. I'm 68, and I feel myself going downhill. But my wife has me so busy. Like we have this little business where we take care of the elderly. We're helping kids and families out here, and I'm doing something every day. And there's been times I haven't slept in my bed for 3 weeks, but I'm looking at it as it's keeping my mind sharp. It's part of exercising for me and keeping active, because you just don't want to waste away and do nothing.
Barbara, talking about that, let's talk about the business, this new business that you've created. You moved to Arizona, and you created this very profitable, very interesting business. Let's talk about it. Tell us.
Yeah, it's pet sitting, and there's such a need for it. Since COVID hit, everybody went and got pets because they were lonely. All the shelters, everything, rescues, they were all sold out. Then when everybody started going back to work, even if it was hybrid, they're like, "Oh my gosh, my pet's never been without me." So there's a need for a pet sitting. So we offer overnight and drop-ins. And we don't have pets ourselves here. We had pets because we're in a brand new house. So Wesley has been doing wonderful because he really loves pets, especially dogs, because he had a little Darcel dog, and unfortunately it ran away. But it's actually great therapy for Wesley. It keeps him busy, plays with the dog, and it keeps his mind off of things, and he just won't sit here and wither away. So we might be busy, and he might say, "I'm busy doing this and that." And yes, we are, but it's a good busy.
But it's not only I said there's a need. It's not only that. And I actually call it house sitting too, because a lot of people go away because it's very hot here and people want to get away. I mean, we had 54 straight days of 110 weather, and it was actually humid, mad hot. And so they go away on vacations, and they don't want anybody in their house. And we were talking about homes from 600 to over a couple $1 million, and so they want somebody they can trust, not only for the pest, but being in their household. And then also Barbara is very good. When we left New York, we had this companionship basis helping the elderly. We're actually doing the same thing, but we're helping the families with their children. And it's just a big need. And we have, for example, a blind couple with two kid girls, and they have autism, and they're 5 and 7, and they're good kids, and they're functional and whatnot too. But they need help. And so we have several people living in our district. In the Petsy, there's a lady that Kristen, that we help out. She's got a month-old baby, 1 year old, and her husband's a doctor. He's not at home, and she can't walk the dogs or whatnot. We had another couple who went away for their 50th birthday to Spain, and they have a son home that has cancer, battling with chemo, and the grandmother that was in the house, the mother. And she had a ankle surgery, so she couldn't really do these things. So we just find this a niche, and Barb called this spur of the moment. I've gone to people's houses where they needed help at 3 a.m. to help them out, And one day I said, I can't do this by myself when I got a 1-year-old, a month-old, and then a 7-year-old, and I'm by myself and changing diapers and trying to feed them, and the one kid going all over the place. It gets to be crazy. Then on top of all that, I have my granddaughter who's 13 months, and sometimes I have to take her with me, so I'm all over the place. And I'm beat, so I got myself home. I ain't, but you know what?
You're never getting old.
Not about the money. It's not about the money for us. It's actually not for me. I can see my wife.
Not for me.
But you're doing a service for others, and you're helping people. And that's what I did as an educator. That's what I've done as a role model for athletes, trying to hopefully emulate me, what you have to do to try to be successful. And when I look back on my life, there's this movie, The Equalizer, with Denzel Washington. I love it. The first one that came out, and there's a quote by Einstein. It says, the most important day of your life is when you're born and when you figure out why you were here. And I've been trying to figure it out. I'm 68, trying to figure out why am I here, but I assume I'm here to serve others, and, with my faith and my beliefs, that's what Jesus did. And we're just here to help others, and that's all I can tell you. And I enjoy it. I love it. And at the end of the day, I want to be able to relax myself, and I'm still trying to get to that point, because I haven't certainly retired. I've retired from football, from teaching, and ever since I met Barbara 17 years ago, it ain't retired. I'll tell you that.
Hey, Steph, I don't think we're ever going to retire.
Never.
Right. And the bottom line, girls, is that we, at the end of the day, when we put our head on that pillow, we know we've done what we could in that day to help others out, and we sleep peacefully knowing that. And that's what it's all about, helping others.
Right.
I have to tell you. Steph, I have to tell you, I love this whole pet business because, my daughter just got a dog a year ago, and I think she treats her dog better than some people treat their kids.
Yeah, I've seen it a million times. I can't believe myself.
Oh my God. You have no idea. If I could tell you, if we had another hour or two, I could tell you some stories. They are like their babies. They are their babies. And what they do, they are more spoiled than you could not believe. But I totally agree with you there. No deal.
No, yeah. So her dog Bean goes to daycare, and I didn't know they have daycare for dogs. I mean, she's a big farm. It's crazy, and she's like, "Oh, Mom, I have to find daycare," and I'm like, "Daycare?
What more?
Baby?
What more?
Yeah, daycare." And wait, the crazy thing is they have cameras, and cameras just like put cameras on a baby.
Hey, I'm on blast when I'm there. You got to watch what you say, what you do, or whatever. The funny part, Barb does all these things. She can tell you she's giving them medications for blood pressure and gas. You can tell her about that.
I have this one cat that's a diabetic, okay, and it's got asthma. So I have to give it 2 insulin shots, one in the morning, one at night, and I have to do 2 treatments for the asthma, like an inhaler, once in the morning and once at night. I have to overnight pet sit for a cat. That's unheard of. Usually you overnight, you do a dog or whatever, but this cat, I love this cat. You know, I've been doing it for months, and they just want to be able to go away and know that somebody's able to do it. I used to give insulin shots to my elderlies. So whether it's a pet or an elderly, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I decided to do pet sitting out here more so than the elderlies. We left the elderlies in the 8 service in New York, and we're enjoying the pet sitting. We also offer dog walking. You'd be surprised if people can't even walk their dog. We've been walking dogs, and I love dog walking because it gives us exercise on top of everything. It's good for
dogs ain't walking us. I know they're dragging lead, and we don't go. I'm a man. You don't even know. Both I have to get my other knee replaced, and I'm being dragged, and I'm playing the whole time, and I'm like, this is not walking. You just walk together and walk. You're just getting dragged. So I don't know what walking keeps on.
Yeah, but it's good for him because it's healthy. Believe it or not, it's healthy for both of us. The dog.
You fall off the gravel and everything when they're dragging you. It shouldn't frail.
See, I'm tougher. I might be little. I'm only 5'2", and I didn't 115 pounds. I'm tiny, but I'm very, very tough. So I don't put up with anything. So, and he's
that's the New York guy.
Exactly. So I'm feeling, disciplined. He lets them walk all over the place. That's the difference. But
I went on a hike with Barbara and shit. I fell down 3 times and she didn't even know and just walked in on her phone like it's nothing.
Yeah, because we also take our dogs on hikes. The dogs that can hike. So we just do everything.
That's so funny. Barbara, I wanted to just circle back for a minute about the healthcare work that you're doing with the NFL.
Yes.
What's going on with that? Because it really seems like that's something where there's a big need for these guys. They're just being thrown aside. They're being just thrown aside.
Well, you know what? So they have they have an HRA program for the NFL, okay? And they can use that money, but they have to submit the paying, they have to submit it. And the problem with that is that a lot of the NFL players are not able to do it. They're not capable of doing it because they have issues. And some of them don't have it. Some of them don't have a barber to help to that end of it like I do. And that's where I think they need to maybe go in there and give them somebody or help them more to do that for them.
Some of them don't even know.
Yeah, some of them don't even know it. I only know it because I get stuff in the mail and I read. And I there's a big booklet. Believe it or not, there's a lot of benefits that they do get. Some of them being active players and some of them being retired players, but you have to educate yourself. It's just like Medicare. There's a lot of programs out there, but you got to educate yourself. And some of these people are they're just not capable of educating themselves because they have stuff like dementia, Alzheimer's, or they're just, there's something going on with them and they don't have a partner, like I said, to do all this stuff.
Right.
So they can do it. They don't offer a lot, but it is there. It's not much, but it is there that they can utilize.
Enough.
And then there are some other programs that they have that they'll cover some health care and some programs and like that. But they got to know that they need to go do it. And most of them just don't get up and do it.
And if you know somebody that's really having with serious depression, they can't function. Mm-hmm. So they're not even capable of doing it.
Yeah. So how do you... So my thing is that you need to send these people that are not capable, and I know some who are, right? And they need to somebody help them. I could help them, but they're in a different state. I'd have to get them going and do a lot. But it's not just helping them one time. It's you have to constantly do it. So it's like, I'm not there. If I could, I would. If I could break me up into a million pieces, I would do it. But I can already watch, from 2,500.
It's very interesting that you say that. I wonder why other family members, or like what you're doing, Barbara, don't get together, or the wives get together and form some type of program where it's done state to state, or there's some type of larger support that's done. What you're doing is amazing. And if it could be done in every state, my mother used to always say you have to be your own self-advocate because no one will do it.
Yes.
But a lot of them don't even have a wife, or you know what I mean, too.
Yeah, hybrid divorce.
Or worse.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
or if they come up with some kind of group, some type of foundation or some type of group is formed that can help in each different state, so there is something.
The NFLPA is for, but they don't do enough of it. Now, I was a union rep with the Jets, and there was information as a union rep that I didn't know to be able to get it back to the players, stuff that I found out later on that I was entitled to. And that's the problem. There's just not enough education out there, and that should be what the NFL Players Association, along with the NFL, because Roger Goodell, the player commissioner, he was actually an intern with the Jets when I got there, and I thought he was just going to be this person that was going to really take a stand for the players and really be an advocate. But he's working for these owners that really, in my eyes, don't really care about that, because he's working for the owner. So a lot of times they don't want to, come up with programs to really help these players because it's a business. But it's up to the NFL and the Players Association to come up with a program and to create these groups. And that's what our chapters are supposed to do, but we don't really do it. And I don't know why there's not enough people to really, I guess, get together as because of their busy schedules, or collectively, whether it be the wives or the players, or as a group, all of us get together and form a company or organization to really help this situation. You have to be on one accord to be able to do that, but it's hard to bring people all together to be on one page with it.
Is this the same problem with the NHL and the MLB? Do they all run into this? Do you know, or is it?
No, I think baseball and the hockey players. I remember as growing up, our teaching it isn't true, but it's nowhere compared to the other sports. And I'm sure if you look at it, if they did a study, you'll find that the other sports had a stronger union and were able to negotiate better programs. I don't know why that is, and why football with the tremendous amount of injuries and things that are incurred, and maybe it's the amount of players that are involved with it. I don't know why we wouldn't have had a stronger position for our pitchers to be really good. But I just remember as a youngster being a baseball guy and knowing that the pitchers were a lot better, and we just didn't have a strong union that would negotiate to have that. But it's really something that as our union, the NFL Players Association, has to really negotiate with the NFL. But there's times where I think our union has sold out to the NFL. They work hand in hand sometimes, but sometimes not for the benefit of the players. And they kind of, will negotiate certain things. And when they negotiate giveaway things, usually it's at the player's expense. And that's a problem that I have. I just think there should be a program already in place, whether it's long-term health care, players that could buy into it. This should have been done many moons ago, even before I was even playing. But it's just evolving, and it's getting a little bit better, but it's not to where it should be. But I think like hockey and baseball is much more, a lot better than what we have. And that's a study that I wish would come out to compare all the sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, and to see what's better and what they have together. But I know the other countries is a lot better than what we've had in the NFL.
That's very interesting. It also appears that as far as alumni, that the NFL really doesn't have very many programs in place for their alumni and their mental and physical well-being.
And now the Jets have, we just got an email where they're having a Jets Legends weekend, and you have to pay to get there, but they'll put you up in a hotel, go to a game, give you a jersey and things like that. And they have these Ring of Honor ceremonies. I've been part of the Ring of Honor. I got inducted in 2012, so there'll be a little benefit from that. But our Legends programs that we do have are trying to get better. And this is what they've been trying to establish with treatments, with healthcare, and different programs to help players. And they're trying to strive to be a situation where guys can really get the help that they really need and create these benefits. It's not to where I would like to see where it would be, but we didn't have that in the past. But they just started this Legends program, I said, within the last 5 years. And I just think it could do a lot better. And then when I talk to other players on other teams, things could be worse or they could be a little bit better. There's no one team that is like the upper echelon where you say, oh man, they're doing a great job. I've had them placed by every team, and I don't know who does it the best, but they are trying to create these legend programs throughout the NFL teams to create certain benefits for players. And I'm glad they're doing it, but it's just not enough.
Right. Are these legends programs team by team, or are they like a collective?
It's a collective. It's a team by team, and it's collective. But we have the same, like they have a list of players, or at least, and you have representatives, and every team has that. And so you can call your representative that area, or others if you want to. Like I'm in Arizona now. If I want to call the chapter out here, I can do that. It's just how much you really want to get involved to see what's available to you. And they're getting better with that. But it's all collective, but it's also team by team.
Very interesting. Well, I know your time is running short.
I didn't mean to cut you off. It's not to where it should be, but
No. Go ahead.
They're starting to create programs, and this is something what we didn't really have, and I would say in the last 5 years. I don't know what you think, Barb,
Right.
because the Jets really didn't have this program, and they just started it. But it was throughout. We have a meeting when we get together with these legend programs to explain everything. But it's like team by team, and they're trying to get better at it. But like I said, as a former player, and like I said, if it wasn't for my school insurance and when I retired, and I had lifetime insurance, I don't know where I would be. I wouldn't have insurance unless it was through my career as a business or any business or any firm that I work for. And unfortunately, I worked for a school, and I did that for about 25 years. So I have lifetime insurance and a pension from that. As far as a pension from the Jets, and there are certainly no healthcare programs available to you. And everybody thinks as a fan, oh, you guys are getting taken care of. And it's so far from right. They only knew what players are going through, what they have to go through. And the NFL is not your friend, and they're not taking care of it. And I just hope that it gets better with that. Not that they owe you anything, because that's just the business aspect of it. And I knew that going in. But something you love to do, you just thought it was going to be more than that. But hey, once it's over, you're out the door. There's no loyalty whatsoever. And the people even working for the organization in the front office, and you could be there day tomorrow and gone tomorrow like you didn't even exist. And that's just the business aspect of it. And that's just the way it is. And you could probably find that in every other business also.
I was going to say that's every industry. Everybody's replaceable. Doesn't matter how famous you are, how much money you make. They move on and they move forward.
And they're going to keep going, and I'm going to keep making them money. And they're going to be having these wonderful Super Bowls, and it's going to keep going. It's a big cash cow. And I just hope that they can take care of some of the players in the future with programs. And that's up to the organization, like I said, the NFLPA and the NFL to do a collectively to make it better for some of these players. But you also, as a player, have to stand up and get involved and deal with the issues that you're having to deal with and try to confront that situation and try to create a program to make it better. And I think they're trying to do that. It's just not enough, and it's not moving fast enough for me.
Right. Yeah. No, that sounds very logical. I know you have to go, though. I know you have your adorable granddaughter who will be there shortly.
Yeah, we're having a ball.
No, I want.
She keeps going. I look forward to her every day. This is not the time where you go. I've gone to my children's house and like it's time to go. I have those 6 grandkids out in New Jersey, and there's times where it's time to go. But I have never once felt this way about this little girl. She is something else. I used to laugh and good time. And she's so adorable. She's got this little rash going on now. She was in pain yesterday, but I felt so bad for her. But she's doing good. She makes me laugh every day.
That's wonderful. That is truly, truly, truly wonderful. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you very much for coming on our show. We really appreciate it. I'm speaking for Michele and myself.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Great.
I know we're going to see you guys.
She's riding me like Seattle. I want her with all these jobs and stuff.
I know I'm going to see you guys soon. Right a month. It'll be here, right?
To December 11th, so we're going to hook up.
Great. That'll be absolutely awesome. Maybe we'll go to again. Yeah. We'll see you at the game.
We'll be there together.
And I look forward to meeting both of you.
We'll be in Barbara's got this jersey, Walker jersey. There's a lady listening, a big Jet fan, and I've gotten to be friends with her, but she made these adorable jerseys for us. Barbara's got this pink, green jersey with pink numbers. I got a pink one without the bling stuff. So we're going to be there in full force. Of course, not only the Jets, but the fans who really appreciate us. And that's why I played this game. The fans I just adore. And when I got inducted to the Ring of Honor, on the poster, it says how I played this game. But if it wasn't for the fans and what they brought to the table for us, and through thick and thin, win or lose, they're there. And I appreciate the friendship that I've made over the years. And I appreciate the time that I've been able to have playing for the New York Jets.
Well, hey, Stephanie, I guess you're going to have to get Jannar and I to a Jets game.
Oh, absolutely. If you can wet.
You're going to have to come up and go to the Jets game and not the Giants game.
Come to something.
I went to a Giants game, too. Don't matter to me. I go to Cardinals games out here. Barbara's a big Cardinals fan.
Yeah.
I got to go there, too. I'll go in.
Yeah.
What is the game? December 3rd?
Yeah. Go, ladies, go December 3rd. That's the Jets Legends weekend. You'll see legends running around. Maybe you can get a few autographs here and there. That's a legend.
We only want Wesley's.
You get mine anytime.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right.
Tell Ellie. Tell me he's going to have.
All right. Well,
thank you.
Bye.
So Stephanie, as they need to call, I have to just say that one thing he brought up that's so important, and you know this as well as I do because we have amazing kids with amazing education, but he said something very interesting. He advocates for education, not just, the professional sports. So there's so many of these kids that go to school to get drafted early and leave school and never finish their education. And he said such an important thing that, it wasn't just about playing professional sports. It was also about, getting that education. So when his career was over, he had something to fall back on and the pension and, everything that comes with it. And that's something that I know even with my daughter that's at the Naval Academy, when she played for Maryland before that, she didn't care about the school or what she was playing with the sport. She cared more about the education because she said, you know what, I'm not going to always have sports. You have to have the education and the profession, because if you don't make it and your sports careers ended short, you have to have something else to fall back on. So, he brought up such amazing points. So, what a great conversation for everybody that's listening.
Right. Absolutely. He's a very smart guy, and so is his wife. Very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But we have about 6 minutes left. So why don't you go first with your bathrooms, and I'll go second with my bathrooms. Because, we have to...
All right, sounds good.
We have to tell our bathroom.
We always have to tell our bathroom story. So I'm going to start with my amazing bathroom story. So we did dress shopping on Saturday. Even with everything that was going on, we still had a silver lining to the day because Alana said yes to the dress. But we celebrated at Tiffany's and we scored a reservation at Blue Box. And let me tell you, you want to talk about bathrooms? Mm-hmm. I'm talking the real deal bathrooms. They were all electric, all heated. You walk by the toilet seat opens, you walk away, the toilet seat flushes. The entire bathroom is done in blue glass. I mean, you want to talk the bathroom of bathrooms, amazing bathrooms. So that is definitely my A-star 100 bathroom. And it's funny because you and I had dinner Friday night and we said, all right, the first thing we have to do is check out the bathroom. So you can't badmouth or mention the bathrooms. But the second, and I just have to say my horrible bathroom story. We did dress shopping all day, and we went to one of, the famous dress stores. And it's funny, my daughter's fiance's mother was with us. So it was mother of the bride, mother of the groom. And she made a comment about how amazing Tiffany's bathroom was. And then we went to the next dress store. And the first thing she said when we got to the bathroom was, well, this is definitely not Tiffany's. So that stuck in my mind because we were in a dress store, not even a restaurant. And the first thing she said was, oh my goodness, this is definitely not Tiffany's. So it just shows you in every industry, people are definitely mindful about, the bathrooms, whether good or bad. But we had both ends of the spectrum on Saturday. Amazing and pretty crappy.
Unbelievable. Well, I'll tell you my quick two. Worst one ever that I've ever been in was in Burger King in Westbury. You know when you got to go to the bathroom and you're driving along, you're like,
what are you doing in Burger King?
Okay,
Miss Help.
I left the courthouse. I had to use the bathroom. I was like, why didn't I use it in the courthouse? Because on the other side of the spectrum, the courthouse bathroom in Nassau County is my favorite bathroom. I hate going in bathrooms in places. I hate it. But if you have to go to the bathroom, courthouse, Nassau County is spotless. It is the most beautiful bathroom. It's not modern like a Tiffany's, and it doesn't have things opening and closing when you walk in. But it is as clean as you could eat dinner off the floor and think to yourself, I'm not getting poisoned. On the other side, I left. I didn't have to use the bathroom. Usually I always go before I leave, the building because, when you're in court for so many hours, usually you have to go. And I said, oh, okay, I can get back to my office. And as I'm driving, I'm like, oh, God, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to make it. So I have to stop at Burger King. Now, what you don't know is that I guess a lot of homeless, not that there's anything wrong with that, and, people just go in and use these facilities, and they really need to be cleaned probably after every patron because there was papers on the floor. There was, oh my God, it was so horrible. I can't even go into how disgusting it was. There was wrappers of things that I don't even want to discuss. And and I just said, oh my goodness, this is why I hate bathrooms. But like I said,
well, I got to tell you, Gennaro said to me, he's like, I feel like a janitor because, you have to remember when he takes Phoebe out for the day and she has to go to the bathroom, he has to take her to the bathroom. So he always says to me, I feel like I'm a janitor because I got to clean. Because I always tell him, don't let her touch anything. Don't let her touch anything. So he's wiping things down. He's taking soap and cleaning because, you can't hold her up. So he's wiping everything down. So he said to me, I've never been more of a janitor in my entire life because he's cleaning bathrooms because they're so disgusting.
So disgusting. Like someone needs to come up with some functional way that you can walk into a bathroom and feel protected from the germs before you go, like a force field. Some kind of force field.
Almost like a bubble. You need an individual bubble.
Right. Like something that protects you from the elements because really it's just some of these are just gross. Absolutely gross. But anyways,
that's our new project.
Yeah, there you go.
How would I know to come up with that?
Right. Somebody comes up with these things. They do. A necessity. There's a need,
Yeah.
But I want to just say another fabulous show coming to an end. I'm Stephanie with the Steps of Service with Michele DiMeo. And let me tell you something. These shows are getting better and better. So you better stay tuned because this is truly only the beginning. We have a lot more coming your way. Right, Michele? You agree?
And our next show's so exciting as well.
Absolutely. But it's going to be, pretty much one after another because we're here to entertain you. And we're here to not only entertain you, but you know what? You look at a show like today, I feel like you gained a lot of information that most people were probably not aware of. And maybe we can look at things differently as a sport, as a fan of a sport, and say, do more for these guys. We got a lot out of them. We got a lot of entertainment out of them. Do more. Do more. And with that being said, we'll see you next week.
Another show in the books. Thank you. Bye, Steph. Talk to you soon. Okay, bye, everybody.